kind of wealth and influence, because it's sending a message that there is going to be a reckoning. Thank you.
We're going to try and do this in a neat and orderly fashion. People can raise their hands, great. I understand that might not work. We also have a legal expert here, Alex Conlon, somewhere. If you guys have any legal questions, she's a former public defender. She's happy to answer some of the legal questions that some of these ladies might not be able to answer. So with that, we're going to open it up as best as we can for a neat and orderly Q&A session. Yeah.
All the women?
Nobody?
I have a question for you.
Great.
I don't know who wants to answer. Today it's Harvey Weinstein trial. But would you say that the things have changed in the American society? Not only Weinstein, I mean, every woman are concerned about what happens. What happened in the last 2 years, and did you see some changes? I don't know who wants to answer.
She's asking me. Are we seeing changes? Yes.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
All around the world.
New laws are being passed all the time. In California, a whole slate of Me Too laws got passed in 2019. Currently, I'm working with Brad Hoylman in New York to pass the Adult Survivors Act, which would open up a window for adult survivors to be able to report and go to court. So things are changing.
Excuse me, I have a question. It must be incredibly hard for all of you to be here. And can you speak up? It must be incredibly hard for all of you to be here and to speak your truth publicly. How do you get up the courage? How do you find it inside yourself to go public with it?
Rose would have to answer that one. I found the courage to go public because, and all of my silence breakers, my fellow silence breakers, and any woman or hurt survivor, man or woman in this world, the courage inside is that little light that he couldn't kill, and it grew and it grew, and my rage grew. And with that, justice, because that's the flip side. I've expelled most of my rage, which is great. Today, I can smile, today I can be free, but how we get the courage is because living in silence is a death sentence to your soul. Because when you get killed by being raped, you carry around that dead person inside of you until you can find a way to birth it. And for me, birthing that was through using my voice. And I imagine that is what happened to so many of us who raise our voices in this society.
What sort of an impact do you think, if Harvey Weinstein is acquitted, what sort of an impact will that have on the survivors, and what sort of a message would that send to the rest of the world that's watching this case so closely?
If he gets found guilty?
If he's acquitted.
If he's acquitted. Well, that will be an awesome day. Just kidding.
I think he just quickly, he just recently said in the press he hopes to rebuild his career in Hollywood when this is all over.
Yes.
Does anyone really want to see that? I mean, it's like a pedophile saying, I can't wait to go back to coaching Little League as soon as this is all over. You know, this is a dangerous predator. Even if he is acquitted on this trial, let's hope that he's never able to go back to doing what he was doing.
And if he's acquitted, it'll prove what a lot of us already know, that the criminal justice system is not currently set up to protect survivors. And all of us have been working really hard to make those changes. So Harvey is powerful, Harvey is rich, Harvey has used his influence his entire life to get away with horrible crimes. We cannot let that happen now. And if this court acquits him, hopefully other courts will come after him, and no one standing here will allow him to continue to have a career and have access to women to continue assaulting them.
As you saw Harvey Weinstein walk into that courthouse today, what were your thoughts and what were your emotions?
He looked like a very broken man.
I think he's taken some good acting tips. He's had a lot of teachers.
And he seemed cowardly. He wouldn't look at us. He wouldn't make eye contact. Nothing has changed. He's a coward.
We weren't screaming. We just wanted to face him, but he didn't. He avoided us. And the thing is that, unfortunately, there's so many people that feel sorry for the rapist, especially in Hollywood. So there's a lot of people feel sorry for
him, and maybe they are planning for him to come back, and if that happens, wow.
Yes, please, fair.
Hi. When he says stuff like your work promoting women has been forgotten, how does that make you feel?
You answered. In her age.
What a moron. I mean, that's what I thought, you know. I mean, you asked me honestly what I thought, and I think it's despicable. I think it's disgusting. I think it's rewriting history, because for every woman he put on the screen, he took out about 100 behind the scenes. Not at all.
No.
He doesn't realize what he's done at all, and I don't think he ever will. He has something sick in his head, like many serial rapists. I question his accomplices, and if he gets acquitted, his accomplices in the future will know no rest, because we will come for them.
So I have a question that I will now address to Rose, which you just brought up. Say Harvey is brought to some kind of justice. We know that Harvey Weinstein did not do this alone. How are we sure that it's over, at least this part of it, if Harvey goes to jail? All those protectors, all those enablers, what will stop them?
I hope that what will stop them is the acknowledgement that they have an asterisk next to their name for all time for what they've done. And many of us know who they are, and many of you do not. But we know them, and we will out them if we have to, if they come forward to help him again. I think if he gets convicted, people will abandon him finally. I pray. Oh.
So for this Christmas.
Yeah, no, I wear it. It's a.
That's why
I wear it for a reason. It's powerful. It's a powerful color, and we're taking the red back.
This is us taking our power back.
Good question, though.
I think this trial will change for what it means. The eyes of the world are on this trial, you know, and women's hopes and dreams of every time they've been assaulted and hurt and never had their voices heard or never had their day in court, because 98% of rape trials do not end with a conviction for the predator. But I think we've already made so much change. You know, I know these women have, and I've given my all to this cause. And what I've seen worldwide as I've traveled in these last 2 years is nothing short of miraculous. And yes, it might be only 1 in 1,000, but that's a lot more than there was before. Well,
Yes.
Yes.
I hope so.
Should.
It should be.
I mean, we make up a lot of the voting bloc, so one would think so, but
It would be nice if some of the debates started asking questions about it.
it would be great.
This feels much bigger than the trial of just one man.
Yes.
I wonder whether you could give us a sense of its broader
I mean, I hope it changes more for men. When you ask what's it going to change for women, we would like to see more change on the men's side. We would like men in power to know that they can't abuse their power, pay off their victims, and go about their business. That hopefully will not stand anymore.
We need the good men that there are
Yeah.
to come and be our allies. And there are a lot of good men. It's not taking down the men.
It's more than most get.
It's a product of his intimidation tactics. He's silenced so many women. I mean, look,
Did you see the
yeah.
the thugs that were surrounding him when he walked in? I mean, it was like a Scorsese film.
It was like he gets the protection. You know, his victims didn't.
No.
And it's also a reflection of the statute of limitations, which silence people and make it impossible for them to seek criminal justice. Because, as Lou can probably speak to, trauma prevents you from speaking up until you process it, until you know you have an ability and a right to go to the police and go to the courts and try to seek justice. So statutes of limitations need to be addressed so more of us can have a voice and have an opportunity to bring our abusers to justice.
Do you feel you will escape his fate? Because of only 2 cases, it's less chances that he's come back.
It's the best we got. And I send all of my strength, and I know we all do, to those women that are going to have to be dragged through the mud for nothing else than being hurt, and for nothing else than maybe being traumatized survivors who acted to what other people would think is strange in the aftermath. But trauma, you kind of want things to go back to normal. You want to pretend it didn't happen. So whatever you hear about those women in there, know that there are 98 more and probably 1,000 more out there that are just like them. And so they're standing for us. And I'm immensely proud of them. And all three women, and Annabella Sciorra going on too. This is a huge, huge moment. And we didn't have our day, but hopefully they will. And we join hands with them. And their victory would be our victory. Their loss will be our loss.
All right, I think unless anybody has anything else, we're probably good.
As you know, one of the three complaints is already dismissed, and Weinstein's defense is saying that maybe it's crude, and they'll show emails in court saying that the two complainants are lying, that they continue to have consensual relationships with him after the alleged assault. How concerned are you about a potential not guilty verdict, and what would that mean for the cause overall?
I'm hoping that they'll bring in an expert who is trauma-informed and can speak to the reality of what happens to survivors post-trauma. It's incredibly common to stay in touch with your abusers if you knew them prior to the abuse. Sometimes it's necessity, you work with them or you're related to them. Sometimes it's to reclaim a normal feeling and to reclaim your power. There is nothing abnormal about remaining in contact with your abuser. Also, even in quote-unquote consensual relationships, abuse and assault and rape can happen. So you could be in a 10-year relationship with someone and still be raped by them. All of these arguments are based on nothing, and they're just trying to drag these women through the mud. So hopefully the jury and the judge will be informed enough to know not to listen to those ridiculous defenses.
While this is going on previously, I'd like to know, I'm sure you all noticed in the last week there have been endless Harvey stories, and now we have a man, Terry Gilliam, who for no reason at all is just trashing women, Me Too movements, any woman who claims to be a survivor. We've also seen a couple of bad men get big promotions in the last month or so. So my question was, how much better is it getting?
One step forward, 3 steps back.
Yeah.
One big step forward.
All right, thank you guys all for
Thank
coming
you.
today. If you guys want updates on the trial or anything along those lines, please tune in to Time's Up Legal Defense Fund. You can get updates along the way. Some of these women are going to be available